first podcast is a show presented by people with learning disabilities for our friends and community. We talk about issues that are important to us and interview interesting people to find out new information. This is our way to make a difference and have our voices heard.
Hello, and we come to the podcast People First. Today, we will be covering an event at Bradford City Hall called the Future Readers Event. Will set the show by talking to one of the organisers, and they picked to some of the people and the event include students and the professionals. Therefore, we come to Matt. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi everyone, my name is Matthew Elliott. I work at Bradford Council and I'm the SEND, so the Special Educational Needs and Disabilities Participation Officer.
Could you explain the event we attended at Bradford City Hall?
Yeah, of course. So the event at Bradford City Hall, our Future Leaders event, is part of a project we've worked with 6 schools to develop. The idea of this City Hall event was an idea to promote youth voice and democracy, an opportunity for young people with special educational needs and or disabilities to have an opportunity to learn about these key areas, but also to kind of visit our City Hall, which is at the heart of our kind of local democracy within Bradford.
Was the event what the people will have to learn from it?
So I'd like to think it was a success. We're at the moment just in the process of doing a bit of an evaluation to find out what all the young people in the room were telling us. But I think kind of judging from kind of speaking to the teachers and the young people, it was a really packed event full of 5 schools that attended. So I think it was a really successful event, providing that opportunity for young people to visit our City Hall. What I hope people learned from it was that they had an opportunity to listen to other young people's lived experience of democracy, have a kind of a Q&A with our Lord Mayor, and also have that opportunity to learn a little bit more about democracy and have a tour of the City Hall as well. So I'm hoping that's what some of our young people that attended the day can take back from the learnings of it.
What does democracy mean to you?
So the term democracy, I think what it means to me is that opportunity for all people to have an opportunity to have their say, whatever their opinion is, that they feel that they can have a say and contribute to the kind of decisions that get made in our country, and have an opportunity to help improve our country as well. But that's an opportunity, I believe, that it should be for everybody.
Why is it important that young people understand the importance of voting?
So I think that's a really good question in terms of why it's important for young people to understand voting, because often young people kind of say to me, the fact is, what's the point of voting? Or they don't really understand what the impact is going to be of voting as well. For me, why it's important that young people have an opportunity to vote is that they have an opportunity to find out, well, what decisions do they want to be made in this country? What do they believe in terms of what do they want to improve? And they have the right to have that opportunity. And I think it is really important that young people feel like they have that voice and have that opportunity to make decisions that impact them as well and contribute to those decisions.
Why is it the important that people with learning disabilities represent them?
Again, I think that's a really good question, and I think why I think it's important that young people with learning disabilities have the opportunity to have a say of who represents them is absolutely that opportunity to make sure that they pick the right person that represents them. They have the opportunity to say, this is what I want somebody who represents me to stand for. This is what I want somebody to to kind of either fight for or kind of vote for as well. What's going to hopefully give that young person that kind of inclusive, kind of all the kind of range of opportunities that that young person deserves as well. So that's why I really think it is important that all young people have the opportunity to have that say of who represents them and what their interests are as well.
Why do young people need to learn about that rights?
So I think it's really important that young people have an opportunity to learn about the rights. As part of the Futures Leaders project, we talked about the UNCRC, which stands for the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. And in this convention, there's lots of different rights that children under the age of 18 have the right to have. So some of these rights are, for example, Article 12, respect the views of the child. This is that kind of the heart of what we did this project for, was that opportunity for young people to have a voice, understand that their opinions should be listened to, and that there should be platforms in school, outside of school, to have that opportunity to be listened to as well. So that's why I think it's really important that young people really understand that they have these rights and that they should be eligible to kind of have opportunities to kind of express those rights as well.
How can we as adults peers support young people in their education about democracy?
So I think that's again a really good question in terms of what we can do as adults to kind of support young people in terms of the development of understanding about democracy and in their education around it as well. I think for me, my kind of answer to that question is really speaking to each young person as an individual, find out what do they understand about democracy. Some young people might understand quite a lot, and you might find that they might have lots of opinions already, and some young people might need a little bit of help to understand what we mean by democracy. And for me, it's making sure that when we have these conversations, they are accessible and we are listening to our young people in terms of what do they want to know about it as well, to really make sure that we're telling them the information that ultimately kind of improves their knowledge around this area, so that they can make kind of an informed decision whether they want to vote, and if they don't want to vote, kind of why they don't want to vote as well, and give them that opportunity that they have the right to be part of kind of democratic processes as well.
What is the recovery the ever the leader of the
So this was kind of, this event at the City Hall, our Future Leaders event, was kind of the end of our initial first project with these schools. So all these kind of 6 schools we worked with, they were kind of our pilot for this and had an opportunity to have a session on child rights, have a session on democracy, and then this opportunity to go to the City Hall. What I'm hoping to do now is learn from how the young people found this experience, what they enjoyed, what areas we can improve as well. And hopefully what we can do is see how can we increase that across the Bradford district as well, to make sure that more and more young people have these opportunities to learn about their rights. Hopefully get more and more young people to our City Hall in Bradford as well. Another opportunity for them as well. And I know that with the Promote the Vote team, they've got lots of kind of exciting work kind of throughout the year planned. And I'm really hoping that we can kind of support that work, again, to promote the importance of democracy and the right that young people have to be part of that kind of democratic process as well.
what your hopes and plans for the rest of 2020.
So I've got lots of hopes and plans for the rest of this year, and I think, like I said, we were really fortunate that we was able to work with 6 schools on this project, but there's a lot more than 6 schools across the Bradford district, and what I'm hoping for kind of the rest of 2024 is to work with more schools, work with more young people, and kind of hopefully kind of develop that kind of knowledge around the kind of the voice of young people and make sure that they understand their rights, and working with school professionals as well to really look at, and other professionals outside of schools, to look at how can we increase opportunities for our young people with special educational needs and or disabilities, that opportunity to have a voice and improve the services across Bradford, and also their kind of experiences within school and their kind of other settings that they're part of as well. So we've got lots of plans to hopefully increase that, but ultimately it's listening to our young people and they can tell me as well to say, well, what more can we do to help support them in terms of to increase their voice and that kind of our understanding of what we can do to improve the support that we offer to young people across the district as well.
Now we will cut this organiser in the working at Bradford City Hall.
Please, can you introduce yourself, please?
Of course, Charlotte. My name is Niall Devlin. I'm the Assistant Director for Send and Inclusion. What that means is I'm responsible for things like the education health and care plans, ensuring that there's external specialist support to schools, such as from educational psychologists or specialist teachers. I'm also responsible for ensuring transport of children with disabilities back and forward to school. One of my teams does assessments of families to see if they would benefit from short breaks. But overall, the overall aim is to ensure that schools provide inclusive education for children and young people with additional needs, including those with special educational needs and disabilities.
Could you explain what we are doing today at this event?
This is a really inspirational and exciting event. This event, Charlotte, is about trying to develop the future leaders within the Bradford district in SEND. One of the things that's core to that is ensuring that people with additional needs and disabilities are actually seen and heard. That doesn't mean that someone like me doing that for them, and that means that the young people who have these needs take a lead in that. They become the inspiring leaders that this district needs. They motivate others, they influence others, they challenge opinions, and most importantly for me is they help design the services and the type of education system that will ensure everyone can achieve their potential. How
Bradford Council support future leaders?
Well, what we're going to do, Charlotte, is ensure that we create forums for them to meet. We're going to provide them with advice and support. We're going to find ways to capture their voice and make sure that what they do is heard throughout the district. But mostly it's about taking their lead. So it's not about telling the future leaders what we think should happen. It's about listening to them, about what's important, what should make a difference, and then working with them to help build and design the services that the children and young people in Bradford will need and access.
Why is it important that young people learn about their rights?
Charlotte, I can't think of a more important thing than people being aware of their rights, because being aware of your rights gives you power. It gives you a chance to demand that those rights get met and ensure that they get met. Knowing your rights allows you to talk to people like me, talk to people who hold resources and distribute money, and allow for you to be able to have your needs met. And because sometimes it's just really, really important that people like me are held to account. And the way that we're held to account is by young people knowing their rights and demanding their rights are met.
How can we, as adults, please support young people in their education about democracy?
I think that's a huge question, Charlotte. And I don't think it's a simple answer. There are some things that are pretty clear. Like, for example, one is it's just by being a lived example. So being a lived example of someone who actively engaged in local democracy and national democracy, and that can be things like what's happening around your local area in terms of litter. It can be around what's happening with buses and accessibility. It can be around things like good access to housing. All of those things about being a lived example and being heard can help motivate and being a mentor for children and young people in education. The next one is very much about listening. It's not for us as adults to empower children and young people, because that's still very much us doing too. What we need to do is work with and for young people, and that means starting off. The best way to be a mentor is to start off by listening, and that's listening to what are the young people's concerns, and then showing how that actually links to politics. So things like the amount of resources in school for inclusion, That's core about politics. Ensuring about the type of food that's available and whether it's nutritious. That is politics. Looking at things like how schools are funded as a whole and even things like salaries, that's politics. The lighting and the park benches that children sit on in order to be able to have fun and communicate, that's politics. And so it's about helping young people understand and work with them to show that the things that matter to them, how they can become politically active and engage in those things, and why it's important to, because most young people will think, well, what's politics got to do with me? But if your park isn't properly lit, or if you haven't got safe places to hang out with your mates and friends, or if you're worried about whether or not there's going to be transport to school and how that's funded in terms of local buses and trains, that is all politics, both locally and nationally. That's why it's important to do it. It's important to be a lived example of someone who does that and engages with them, and it's important to listen to young people and show them how those things are actually at the root of them, have a political underlying, and then maybe it's about helping them understand how they make a change in their areas. So it's been a guide and more than it's been a guide and a support and a mentor.
Why is it important that young people understand the importance of voting?
Well, I think it's, if you want to make a difference and you want to be heard, then a core way you can do that is through voting. I think you can do that through getting together and organising. You can do that through writing letters. You can do that through social media. You can do that through campaigns. There are lots of ways in which you can make your voice known and make a difference. You can join a charity group and support in your area. You can join local community groups. You can volunteer. But what you can also do is also make a real difference in terms of voting. And by doing that, being part of the large national voice and local voice in what change matters to people. And politicians listen to votes because that's how they're elected and how they get back in. So therefore, if you really want to make a difference at a big level in national votes, in national elections, but also in parish elections and in local authority elections, then voting is the way to start to do that.
We'll be interviewing some young people later today. What do you hope they will have learned?
If I'm cheating on that question, I would say I would also hope what they have taught. What they have taught the people in the room in terms of being living examples of inspiration, living examples of overcoming challenge and commitment, living examples of what it's like to behave with empathy and dignity and how to make a difference. If I'm hoping what young people have learned is they get a sense of their ability to make a difference, a sense of the importance of their voice, and a sense that they have a right to have things changed and a right for the world to be different, and are hoping that through it being a shared collective experience that they're able to see that they have real power and that they can come together to make a difference. This event, Charlotte, the main aim of this event is to bring who we believe are the future SEND leaders in Bradford together, to bring them together so their voices collectively heard, to bring together so they can see young people who are like them and young people and young adults who have been there and have made a difference. It's about trying to inspire and motivate, and it's also practical. It's also about trying to start to give them some tools and some information about how they might make a difference. But it's very much a start of a journey. I don't think that today's event will solve all the problems in Bradford we have with inclusion, but I do think it's an important step in the journey for all the reasons I've mentioned, because I hope that it will motivate and energise and inspire, and I hope that it enables young people to collectively start to shape what's needed in Bradford to make Bradford more inclusive. So thank you very much for Charlotte and Daniel for letting me speak today, and I wish you well. Thank you.
Please can you introduce yourself, please?
So I'm Zara Bailey and I'm from Carlton Keighley.
What does the term democracy mean to you? Do you have positive or negative options of the word, and why?
I have positive sort of thoughts because it tells you that you have rights, and people under the age of 18 have like rights in a say, and also people over the age of 18 also have a right in a say because they always get a right in a say in the world. It's not just a specific person.
Do you have how democracy works in the UK? Can you tell us about it?
It works in the UK. For example, you've got polling stations, and people who are over 18 have a vote, and a specific vote onto maybe, like, for example, the green space that don't have any buildings on it, and it has and they have a vote. Does it keep it green or not keep it green?
We know you can't vote in England until you're 18. Can you think of ways of people that age have their voices heard, influence the world around them?
I think that they can have their voices heard by maybe practicing before they actually do politics, like we did this afternoon, and you get to have like maybe try and maybe have a look. I don't know how to explain it, but have a look and just be curious.
If we went out today, asked 100 different children, young people, what the best and worst things about growing up in Bradford District, what kind of answers do you think would hear?
They would say the best things are being able to make a lot of friends and having a big community and knowing people. The worst things, it depends on where you are from Bradford, because there's a lot of places where you can live in Bradford, but it depends because there can be a few bad things that happen, but obviously I'm not going to go into too much detail, but yeah.
Please, can you introduce yourself, please?
I'm Majid. I'm from Carlton Keighley.
Do you have how democracy works in the UK? Can you tell us about it?
Democracy in the UK is that people get to vote for the government and how they have a say. And democracy is made up from two Latin words called Demos and Kratos, which means the people, and power, and that shows that we all have power in this country and we have the right to our freedom in this country.
We know you can't vote in England until you're 18. Can you think of ways of people that age have their voices heard, influence the world around them?
There is a lot of people that take into account what young people say, like Greta Thunberg. She takes in what younger people say, and she does all those protesting and stuff for climate change. And as well, there's a lot of people that like have young people's signatures for a certain thing, and they get to raise it up. And it's that a lot of places around the country do include children in the vote, and let them not have the voices that they need and want.
Bradford Council has the ambition for Bradford District to be more child-friendly. What the words child-friendly mean to you?
For some people, we should have a safe zone, like say in parks. It shouldn't be that young people are scared to go there and that kind of stuff, and there should be more child-safe areas where, say, it was we could take some like abandoned buildings that haven't been used for a long time, try to renovate it into like a soft play zone, or into you can do a lot of child activities, like have foam walls for children and that kind of stuff.
What is the most child of young person place if you've been to? What about it make you feel that way?
When I was small, I went to a place called Funzi, and it was very child friendly because it was very hard to get hurt there, and you feel safe in there because your parents are down there looking at you, but you know that no matter what you do, it's very hard to get hurt.
If we went out there, asked 100 different children, young people, what the best and worst things about growing up in Bradford District, what kind of answers do you think would hear?
I would like to say that in Bradford right now, there's two separate sides of it. There's a side where there's poverty and where people are struggling, mostly children are struggling to do what they want, and they feel that they don't have the opportunities. And there's the other side that has a lot more opportunities, and I believe that every single school should make those opportunities equal. Like in my school, we have the Carlton Academy Trust and Carlton Edge, which make sure that anything that any like trips and stuff should be free, so both sides of the line are equal, and it brings all children together under one name.
Please, can you introduce yourself, please?
My name's Liam Bailey and I go to Carlton Keighley in Keighley.
What does the term democracy mean to you? Do you have positive or negative options of the word, and why?
I think it's positive because if we can vote, then what it is if we vote, everyone has their own different opinions.
If we went out there, asked 100 different children, young people, what the best and worst things about growing up in Bradford District, what kind of answers do you think would hear?
I think Bradford in the UK is good because it's more child friendly and more parks around the area. What would be a less good thing if it was messy and loads of bacteria everywhere, unclean.
Just yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm Baron Dawson.
I'm Tanvir Ahmed.
How you heard for the UK occupation for the rights for the child, and what does it mean to you?
We've talked about it in our session with Matt. It means that every children has rights. It means a lot to us because us children can have rights to like food, home, and all that stuff.
Can you tell us about some example for rights that you think children might have?
All children deserve to have a right to learn, have education, and get looked after in a safe environment. There's multiple more. It's just that it'd probably take forever for us to, go through the entire thing. It's like, what others do have, there's too much, isn't it? Like 52 plus equality. Equality would be the most important, I think.
Yeah.
But Tanvir might have a different side to it.
Like every child has food, a safe place to sleep, shelter, like just like the basic rights, those are like most important. I think every children should have, and yeah.
What does the team Congressy mean to you? Do you have positive or negative opinion for the work?
Democracy. To me, it means voting for like a leader of a place or even your entire country. I can see some good sides of it, but there are also some big bad sides, like what if the person who's in control isn't that good? But there are some that deliver on the promises. Not to say those promises are good, but they do deliver on it.
Yeah, I agree with Brian.
Bradford Council has an vision for Bradford to be more child friendly. What do the words child friendly mean to you?
It depends on the child you're looking at. So say you've got a child that likes sports, have more sports centres so those children can, do sports. If they just like to play around more parks, it really just depends on the child.
It means it should be a safe place for children. Activities for children and teenagers should be more excessive, meaning there's more for them to do. So having these activities would be great for us.
Having activities for children is kind of the main thing, because as a child you just want to do childish things. You don't want to worry about politics or things like that. You just want to get on with your life and then worry about that when it comes back to you. Go children. You have more rights than adults. Use them.
Yep. Agreed.
There are multiple ways you can use your rights. It just depends on the way you actually do use them. So whether you use them for good things or bad things, hopefully good, it's up to you.
Please, can you introduce yourself, please?
I'm Tara, I'm 13 and I really like music.
I'm Hashim and I'm from Dixon's and I'm just a Fortnite sweat. I just love Fortnite and the summer. I don't know why.
Have you heard of the UN Convention of the Rights of the Child? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, well, I've heard of it, and it's basically, it means that we have rights and we can do things that we want to, basically.
Can you tell us about some examples of rights that you think child might have?
Some rights that the children should have is like the right to vote. In my personal opinion, I think that they should vote whenever they're at least in their teen years, because 18 is too old. In my personal opinion.
We have the right to talk and we've got freedom of speech, which could be a good thing if we had ways in which we could actually express it, because there's not really a way we can. We have the right to education, which certain people don't always get, and I feel like it can be unfair in a way, because certain children end up homeless, and it's getting the fact that they should have some form of education, whether it's just being given books to read or actually being sent to school.
Why do you think UNCRC was established in the first place?
I think it was established to give children rights and to make us heard with the voices that we have, and we can use in positive ways.
What does the term democracy mean to you? Do you have positive or negative options of the word, and why?
To me, democracy, it means that you can vote for somebody that you really want, and personally I think it's positive because you have a voice that can be heard, and if you don't have a vote, that means your voice isn't being heard, and potentially the society can go bad as well.
Do you have how democracy works in the UK? Can you tell us about it?
I'm not too sure how it works, but I know that it's about voting for who you want and choosing how you want the country to basically be run.
We know you can't vote in England until you're 18. Can you think of ways of people that age have their voices heard, influence the world around them?
The way that you can have your voice heard under the age of 18, other than voting, is by speaking to your parents and asking them to like go do some things for you, and like ask them to like discuss with them and ask if you can go speak to somebody like important, like somebody like the council or something, to go like change something, or your local MP to go fix something that you don't
you
like,
can talk
or
to
school
your head,
member, trusted adult, something like that.
or your head teacher possibly, because if you talk to your head teacher, they can talk to what they can slowly get it higher and higher, and then you'll be heard. We don't really have anything to use our voices. I mean, the only thing close enough is creative writing, where we can like create and write things.
That's
that
through
we,
art, you can express your feelings.
yeah, and then there's
through
art and
through art
music, but
and
that's about it.
drama, music.
I think we could have some sort of club where if people are interested in making their voice heard, they can.
Or a like creative club to like write down things that you want, I mean things that are like happening in your life, and change them into things that like you really like, but you can put it into a box where everybody can see, but you do it anonymously.
Like if you're
That
not
people can see.
confident talking to someone straight out, you can write it down, because I
To a
know a lot of
teacher.
people that aren't confident.
Out till 12, respect the views of the child. How can you believe we can make the Bradford district more child-friendly?
By creating spaces that we can go to, because a lot of places you have to pay to enter. I feel like creating somewhere that's free to go to, somewhere you can go to whenever you want, it's open all the time, and where there's people that can help you if you need like help, to say if you have depression or anything, that can help you out.
And also a club where you can go with your friends in like a private room and start talking and express to them like what you're feeling and everything, and what things you're going through.
Bradford Council has the ambition for Bradford district to be more child-friendly. What the words child-friendly mean to you?
Personally, I think it means by like making Bradford like more safe and less dangerous zone area, and to like make people more happy and upbeat.
What is the most child of young person place if you've been to? What about it make you feel that way?
I've done a couple of workshops at a place called Common Space, and it was just a bunch of people our own age, and we could go there and we could express ourselves through music, which I think could be quite powerful in a way if it was actually heard by other people.
If we went out today, asked 100 different children, young people, what the best and worst things about growing up in Bradford district, what kind of answers do you think would hear?
I think we would hear, some positive, some negative answers.
Personally, I think it'd be mostly positive, depending on the area. Cause like, for example, if you're going to like a dodgy area, that'd be weird. Yeah, like there might be some like depends like what type of people like around the area. Like if there's good people around the area, it mainly be positive. But if there's like people that do crimes or all that stuff, it might be negative. Like it's complicated.
Where I live there is a local park, but there's only like certain bits you can actually go around the park too, because there's like the skate park area, but it's not the safest place to be.
There's also a forest in my local park. It's massive. Lots of drug dealers living there. Don't go there.
It's not the safest place.
And those injections of fishes there.
I feel like buses should actually turn up, or schools should have school buses, because it got to one point where a few weeks ago I was waiting 3 hours for the bus and it never turned up, so I had to call my mum for her to pick me up. But she was working, so that's why I was getting the bus in the first place. I have the first bus app, but it's not always accurate, because it once said the bus was due, but it wasn't there for another 20 minutes. And it was really frustrating because it apparently updates itself, but it never actually does. And I feel like it just probably could be more accurate, and buses could be more frequent. We don't really have a way we can give feedback on it, because if we did, we'd just be sort of silenced and pushed away because children are a lot of time told that we should be seen and not heard.
Right, we all good there, guys? All good? You want to hit space bar, Daniel?
I think that school should be like more safer. Like, for example, like there's loads of bullying that keeps on happening in schools, and teachers, they keep on saying just avoid them, but they're not really doing much, and they should try stopping them.
Like, I've had experience where people have actually bullied me and all they've had to do was say sorry to me. And it just didn't do anything and still did it.
Or try getting them to be friends or something.
It just doesn't work. Like, you should feel safe in your school, but when people are making fun of you and calling you the odd ones out, it's not really the best place to be, and you don't really want to be there.
Just yourself, please.
I'm Ayan Mahmood. I'm from Hanson Academy and I'm in Year 9.
I'm Ramana Akhtar. I'm in Year 10 and I'm 14 years old and I go to Hanson.
I am Iman. I am in Year 9 and I go to Hanson Academy.
How you heard for the UK Convention for the rights for the child, and what does it mean to you?
The rights of the child mean when children have rights to education and rights for children.
The rights of the child, it means that children have a say in what they do and they have their own opinion.
Can you tell us about some example for rights that you think children might have?
Rights to education, rights to housing, rights to doctors and nurses, and the NHS.
I feel like children's rights are children having rights to houses, to freedom, to school, hospitals, and have freedom to be who they are.
I think children should have the right to education, the right to healthcare, the right to meet their friends, and the right to be free.
Why do you think the UNCRC was established in the first place?
I think it was established because children need rights.
So then it's not really fair that like adults have rights and then children don't have rights to to speak their minds out. And we just ignore like kids to what they're saying, and they're really important because we don't know how kids are feeling then.
Because children want to have the same rights as adults and they want to feel the same. So if they don't have rights, they will feel like they don't have their own opinion.
What does 13 cognicy mean to you? Do you have positive or negative opinion for the work?
So democracy means freedom.
The word democracy. I think democracy is a good thing because then we know it's about people's rights and freedom. And it could be a negative as well, because people could also take advantage of it, but overall, the majority of it, I think it's a really good thing though.
Democracy means rule by the people, so people over 18, they have a say in what the country does.
Do you have democracy work in the UK can you tell us about it?
Democracy works in the UK because over 18-year-olds can vote and they can speak.
Oh, we have like a fair vote throughout the people in the country.
Democracy works in the UK. When you are 18, you can vote for a prime minister in the country.
We held that you can vote in England until you are 18. Can you think of ways people under that age to have their voices heard? Hands influence the vote about them.
People who are not 18, they can speak to the local councillor and maybe they can make a change.
They could talk to a school council, or they could talk to a youth worker. They could talk to a youth worker about it.
Well, you can express your opinion by talking to a school council if you have one, or you can do marches in groups.
Our school 12 respect for youth before the child. How do you believe we can make Bradford district more friendly?
You can put more like clubs like for children, like social clubs.
It could have more youth clubs and more accessibilities for visual impairment people and people with disabilities, like people who are wheelchairs, more accessibilities for them and more safer places for children to hang about.
Make more wheelchair accessible. We should consider different disabilities and make parks with the kids areas and big children's areas, because if they are all mixed, kids might feel frightened from the older children's.
Bradford Council has an vision before Bradford to be child friendly. What do the words child friendly mean to you?
Child friendly means to me friendly to children. Make social clubs and they could make a place where the parents can drop their children off. You know, when they're working, they can drop their children off, and when they're finished, they can pick them back up.
Like it's safe. There's nobody's for the the parents don't have to worry about where is my children going? Are they safe? Safe. So I think it's a place of that parents don't have to worry, and children can go there without worrying about their safety.
To be child friendly.
It means that children feel safe where they are, and also their parents trust to leave them.
What is the most child or young person place you have ever been? What about it made you felt that way?
The most child-friendly place I've ever been to is a soft play area, because there's mostly children there, and if the parents have got somewhere to go, they can just drop them off there and then pick them back up when they're ready to pick them up.
School. Like a school or like nursery or hospitals. Because they're quite safe and parents know how safe, because they're like safeguarding and safety, therefore precautions for children.
The most friendliest place I have ever been is this place called Insane. It is a trampoline park and you will not get hurt there. Everything is soft there and there's only children's.
If we went out today and we asked 100 different children and your people when the best and works things about growing up in our post district, what kind answers do you think would hear?
The best things about Bradford are it's friendly for disabled people. The worst thing about Bradford, they've not got enough wheelchair accessible buildings.
I would say the best, what people could say about the best parts of Bradford are like the place where there's less crimes and the place with people. So the worst part of Bradford is the place with more crimes and more safety hazards. What makes it a good place to live in is that there's quite a lot of children there, different varieties of them, and there is lots of different cultures and different people in Bradford, and what makes it a bad place is the crime rate in Bradford.
The best things about living in Bradford is that there is a large variety of children's and it is safe. And the worst things about Bradford is that there is too much crime, so children can't go outside in the night safely.
Could you explain your job role? Please, can you introduce yourself, please?
So hi, my name's Frankie Adenall. I'm a social worker in the Learning Disabilities team in Bradford.
Could you explain what we are doing today at this event?
So this event today is for children to learn about their right to vote and to have their voices heard. We've been doing lots of events today in terms of teaching people how to cast their first vote, telling them about voting when they turn 18, because everybody was under 18 today, so we taught them about when you turn 18 you can make big decisions by voting about who runs your city and your country and how your voice can be heard, and we've had lots of fun doing it.
How does this event relate to the Promote the Vote campaign?
So it's all about the voice of the child and the rights and people's right to vote and learning about democracy and rights, because voting is a human right and we all have a right to vote, and having our voices heard is really powerful.
Why is it important that young people learn about their rights?
So if children know that they have a voice and they know how to use it, then they have a say in what they want to do and how they want things to go. And we've helped them do that a little bit today by doing student manifestos in school and getting them to think about what changes would you like to make in school. And a lot of them said things like, oh, we'd like longer breaks, or we don't want any detention, or we'd like some more art classes and lessons. So it's just helping them to start thinking about decision making and having their voices heard.
We'll be interviewing some young people later today. What do you hope they will have learned?
So what we hope the children will learn from today is they've learned a little bit about voting and how to do that and the experience of doing that, because we had a pop-up polling booth, so they were able to experience what it would be like casting a real vote. But we did that with vegetables today. So do you want to vote for Mr. Broccoli? And you get 5 extra days off school a year. So we made it really fun for them. So we hope today that they go away and they know that their voices can be heard and they know how to use them confidently. I would just like to add that today has been amazing. All the children and staff and everybody has really enjoyed learning about voting and having their voices heard, and it's been really powerful and it's been really successful day. So thank you.
That is all we have time for today. Thank you for everyone who took part in this podcast. It was a really interesting event, Matthew. Do you have anything else to add before we end the show?
Thank you very much to all of you, especially on the Play On podcast, for kind of having the opportunity to ask me some questions about my experience with this podcast. In terms of my final kind of thing I'd like to add, is just a real big thank you to everybody that supported the young people, yourselves on the podcast, the professionals who help support with talks, the school staff that help support the young people. And ultimately, I really hope that this Future Leaders event is the kind of start of more work that we do across the district to help promote kind of young people voice and democracy as well. So yeah, lots of exciting plans that hopefully we can kind of continue to share across the district as well.
I was in Bradford Town Hall, answering questions and recording school students, and the way they enjoy themselves entertaining as well.
That's really nice to hear. I'm glad that all the students had a really positive experience on the day.
Yeah.
Remember to comment, like, share on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. You can find us, search for the People First Podcast. Thank you for listening. See you next time.